The Commerce Department has announced that they're delaying ruling on tariff issues until August of this year. The Colorado legislature has approved a bill that will streamline permitting process for residential solar. And for the first 2 months of this year, for the very first time, wind and solar generation has surpassed generation from coal. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of May 1st. Well, the Auxim ruling that was supposed to be announced on May 1st has been delayed until August 17th. Now, as a little bit of history on this, basically what has happened is during the Trump administration, there were tariffs imposed upon solar panels that were manufactured in China. So, of course, a number of Chinese manufacturers moved their assembly facilities to other nations, specifically to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and Malaysia. Now, those 4 countries soon accounted for about 80% of all of the solar panels that were imported into America. Well, there was a petition filed back in 2021 that essentially said this was just simply an obvious attempt to avoid tariff rulings. When Auxim filed on behalf of this, essentially the Commerce Department said, yes, we will look at this. If they found in Auxim's favor, there could have been as much as 200% penalties on people who had bought these panels. So the supply chain was disrupted. Imports of solar panels fell to almost nothing. So then in 2022, in June of 2022, the Biden administration said, listen, this is too disruptive to the industry. We will put a 2-year pause on any penalties that may accrue, allow the Commerce Department to review it. There will be no retroactive penalties imposed. And so we're waiting on that ruling, which was supposed to happen May 1st. Now it's delayed till August. Now there has been a hope that the Inflation Reduction Act will make this a moot point because there are incentives now for domestic production of solar panels and solar equipment. Speaking of the Inflation Reduction Act, of course, the House Republicans have just voted on April 27th to try and eliminate or repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, this is tied to the debt ceiling fight that's going on there. It is unlikely to pass the Democratic-controlled Senate. Even if it did, the Biden White House has said they will veto that bill. California recently passed House Bill 1234, which streamlines applications for permits for residential solar. Essentially what they're doing is they're providing $1 million to allow local municipalities, local jurisdictions to adopt this app known as Solar App Plus. Now, Solar App Plus is a process where installers can apply online and the software evaluates their application and will give them instantaneous permitting for residential solar. Now, NREL, the National Renewable Energies Lab, has found that those installations that use this app have a 37% less chance of failing their inspection. Currently, there are about 32 communities nationwide using this app, and about 15,000 permits have been issued through this process. LG Energy Solutions, formerly known as LG Chem, has just released a new residential storage system that is designed, first off, it's called Prime Plus. It combines 2 of their lithium-ion batteries. They have these lithium-ion batteries. One is 9.8 kilowatt hours in size. The other is 16 kilowatt hours in size. So when you combine the 2, they end up being 19.2 kilowatt hours or 32 kilowatt hours. They cost about $1,000 per kilowatt hour, so the 32 kWh will be $32,000. Well, they do have about a 10-year warranty. They are compatible with most DC coupled inverters out there on the market, so really designed for the retrofit industry. And the commissioning, according to their marketing, takes about 10 minutes. So it's a plug and play system. And solar and wind grew about 7% over in the first 2 months of this year over the previous year's first 2 months, while at the same time generation from coal plummeted by about 33% during that same time period. So now solar makes up about 3.9% of all the generating capacity, wind about 12.2%. So they combine for about 16.1% of the generating capacity. Well, at the same time, coal, for the first time, fell below wind and solar at about 16%. Now, to put that in perspective, about 10 years ago, coal accounted for about 50% of all of the electric generation in the country. When you add in hydro, renewables now make up about 27.6%, nuclear energy about 21.9%, coal about 16%, as I said, and natural gas about 32%. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.